I gripped my portfolio tighter as Diane Hutchinson stepped right in front of me, blocking my path to the Hamilton conference room like she was guarding Fort Knox. The morning sun was streaming through those floor-to-ceiling windows, lighting up the empty chairs and that polished table where I'd planned to prep my presentation. "Excuse me, but is there a problem here?" I asked, pulling out my phone to show her the digital reservation confirmation. "I booked this room 3 days ago through the system." Diane's lips curved into this smirk I'd been watching for 3 weeks now. Her pearl necklace caught the light as she straightened up, using every inch of her height advantage. "This space," she said, tapping one manicured finger against the doorframe, "is reserved for senior faculty only." Her eyes swept over my simple gray suit and practical shoes, lingering on the temporary ID badge that just said Anthony Richardson, Research Division. "Not for people at your level. Let me back up here." Let me back up. My name is Anthony Richardson. I'm 47 years old, and I've spent the last 18 years turning around failing operations after my Navy career ended. Those 12 years in the service taught me patience, strategic thinking, and how to read organizational hierarchies. More importantly, they taught me the difference between earned authority and borrowed power. But this fight wasn't just about business efficiency for me. 2 years ago, I watched my former colleague, Carmen Rodriguez, brilliant woman with a PhD in biochemistry, get systematically pushed out of a research position at another institute because she wouldn't play politics. Carmen was the kind of scientist who could explain complex protein structures over coffee and make you understand why it mattered. She had patents pending, breakthrough research, and a mind that could see solutions others missed. Yet somehow she found herself assigned to the worst equipment, excluded from key meetings, and buried under administrative paperwork that seemed to multiply every time she submitted it correctly. The final straw came when her research presentation was scheduled for the same time slot as a mandatory department meeting she wasn't told about. When she missed the meeting to present her work, she got written up for poor institutional commitment. 3 months later, she was gone. Carmen ended up leaving science entirely, now teaching high school chemistry to kids who probably don't realize their teacher once developed a compound that could revolutionize cancer treatment. Watching someone that talented get destroyed by institutional bias left a mark on me that I carried into every corporate turnaround I took on afterward. When the Westfield Research Institute board brought me in as their new director, it wasn't just about fixing broken systems, it was personal. The board chairman, Dr. William Carpenter, had called me on a Thursday evening in March. His voice carried that particular desperation I'd heard from other executives when their organizations were circling the drain. "Richardson, we've got a problem that's costing us everything," he said without preamble. "Our best researchers are leaving for competitors. Grant applications have dropped 35% in 2 years, and we can't figure out why. The data says we should be thriving, but something's systemically wrong." I'd seen the statistics before he sent them. Westfield had the funding, the facilities, the reputation. On paper, it should have been a powerhouse. But talented people don't leave good situations without reasons. And those reasons are usually buried in the unofficial power structures that don't show up on organizational charts. "I'll take the job," I told him, "but I have one condition. Give me 3 weeks to observe the place from the inside. No announcements, no special treatment, no corner office with my name on it. Just let me see how things really work when nobody's putting on a show for the new boss." Carpenter had hesitated. "That's unusual. Most executives want to hit the ground running. Most executives fail because they don't understand what they're actually dealing with," I said. "Organizational problems are like military intelligence. The real situation is never what it looks like from headquarters. So that's how I found myself standing in a hallway getting lectured about my level by someone who'd apparently never heard of temporary strategic positioning. The heat crept up my neck, but I kept my voice level. The online system showed availability. No mention of rank restrictions. Diane sighed like she was dealing with a particularly slow child. 20 years I've maintained standards at this institute. 20 years of excellence because we understand proper hierarchy." She gestured toward the elevator. "Try the basement conference room. That's where new researchers work until they've proven themselves. The basement room." I'd been down there twice during my observation weeks, and it was everything wrong with institutional thinking made physical. No windows, Wi-Fi that cut out every 10 minutes, chairs that squeaked like dying mice, and a persistent, musty smell that made you want to hold your breath. It was where good ideas went to suffocate. But here's what Diane didn't know about military training. We learn to gather intelligence before we act. For 3 weeks, I'd been watching her operation like a reconnaissance mission. I'd seen how resources flowed through personal relationships instead of merit. I'd documented which projects got approved based on who submitted them rather than what they proposed. And I'd started to understand exactly why talented people kept walking away from what should have been their dream jobs. I could feel other faculty members pretending to check their phones nearby, deliberately avoiding eye contact. Dr. Dennis Coleman and Dr. Scott Mitchell, both department heads, had seen this dance before. Everyone had, but nobody said a word, just like when Carmen got pushed around at her old job. Next time, Diane called after me as I walked away, check with my office before making reservations. It'll save everyone time. I nodded without turning around and headed straight to my deliberately modest office at the end of the corridor. Only when I closed that door did I allow myself a small smile, glancing at the nameplate sitting face down on my desk. The one that would be installed tomorrow morning. The one that read Dr. Anthony Richardson, Director of Operations and Innovation. See, I'd built my career on patience. While other executives rushed into flashy restructures and quick fixes, I learned that real organizational change takes observation, planning, and perfect timing. At 47, I'd become known in corporate circles as the turnaround specialist, the guy companies called when their systems were broken beyond normal repair. The Navy taught me that before you can fix a ship, you need to understand how water gets in. Corporate dysfunction works the same way. There's always a source, and it's usually human. The Westfield Research Institute had once been a powerhouse in biomedical research. Founded in 1987, it had produced 3 Nobel Prize winners and held patents worth over $200 million. But now it was bleeding talent faster than a punctured artery. The numbers told a story of systematic decline that didn't match the resources available. What I discovered in those 3 weeks was worse than the statistics suggested. Innovation wasn't just stagnating, it was being systematically crushed. Resources flowed to a tight circle of senior researchers regardless of their actual results. Promising projects died in basement rooms while mediocre work with the right connections got prime facilities and funding. And sitting at the center of this whole mess was Diane Hutchinson, Administrative Director of Operations. Technically not a researcher herself, Diane had accumulated extraordinary power through her control of schedules, space allocation, and resource distribution. She decided whose grant applications got administrative support, which projects got showcased to visitors, and who received invitations to career-making conferences. For 20 years, she'd built an inner circle based on loyalty rather than results. Dr. Martin Foster, whose derivative imaging studies hadn't produced meaningful results in 4 years but always got renewed funding. Dr. Barbara Martinez, who spent more time networking at conferences than in her lab but somehow never faced budget cuts. Dr. Dennis Coleman, whose research team of 6 people produced less output than individual researchers working in the basement. The pattern was so clear it might as well have been printed on official letterhead. If you were part of Diane's network, you got the best equipment, the prime conference room slots, the administrative support that made grant applications successful. If you weren't, you got broken equipment, scheduling conflicts, and bureaucratic roadblocks that would frustrate a saint. I'd watched it all from my tiny office, taking detailed notes while brilliant young researchers got their voices cut off in meetings. I'd seen groundbreaking ideas dismissed without discussion, while weak proposals from Diane's favorites sailed through approval committees. The waste was staggering, but the human cost was worse. During my second week of observation, I made a point of visiting the basement conference room Diane had suggested. What I found there reinforced everything I'd suspected about institutional bias becoming institutionalized incompetence. The basement was exactly as depressing as I'd remembered. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting sickly shadows across peeling wallpaper. That musty odor hung heavy in the air, and I could see the water damage I'd noted earlier, dark stains spreading across the corners like some kind of organizational disease. But despite the grim surroundings, the room buzzed with energy. 6 researchers huddled around a table meant for 20, their voices animated as they discussed their work. These were the people Diane had systematically sidelined, the ones whose ideas threatened the established order. "Don't mind me," I said, taking a seat in the back corner. "Please continue." They exchanged uncertain glances before a young woman with bright eyes and determined expression stood up. This was Dr. Stephanie Walsh, whose work I'd been following through internal reports. As I was saying, she continued, our new synthesis method shows 94% efficiency in early-stage protein development compared to current industry standards of 76%. She clicked to the next slide, which refused to advance. The ancient projector wheezed and hummed, its fans struggling against years of accumulated dust. She tapped the remote repeatedly before sighing. Technology down here is always temperamental. Here, let me try, offered an older researcher, fiddling with cables behind the machine. Stephanie's work deserves to be seen properly. It could revolutionize drug development if given proper support. I watched Stephanie's presentation unfold, marveling at its elegance. Her methodology was brilliant, a simple adaptation that could accelerate pharmaceutical research while reducing costs by millions. Yet here she was, presenting in a moldy basement while conference rooms upstairs sat empty, reserved for Dr. Foster's team to discuss their latest failure. Have you presented this to the department heads? I asked when she finished. Stephanie's shoulders tensed. 4 times. Each time I was told it needs more development before receiving consideration for institute resources. While Dr. Foster got full funding for his derivative imaging study last month, muttered another researcher. His approach is basically a rehash of work from the 1990s, but he's been working closely with Miss Hutchinson for 15 years. Dr. Foster has institutional relationships, Stephanie explained quietly, using the diplomatic language that researchers learn when they want to keep their jobs. He's part of the established network. I nodded, making notes on my tablet. And how many of you regularly use this space? All 6 raised their hands. We call ourselves the Basement Brigade, said a lanky researcher with kind eyes. Anyone doing work that challenges established methodologies eventually ends up down here. Yet you stay, I observed. Stephanie straightened her shoulders. The science matters more than the surroundings. Even if we're invisible here, the work isn't. We support each other, share resources, collaborate in ways the upstairs people never do. We've learned that if you want to do real research, you find a way around the system instead of waiting for it to work. As I listened to them discuss their projects, I realized something important. These weren't just talented researchers being suppressed. They were the future of this institute, and they were being systematically starved of resources while mediocrity got rewarded upstairs. Over the past 5 years, this place had lost 28 talented researchers, people who went on to make breakthroughs at competing institutions, while Westfield's own innovation metrics declined by 35%. The correlation wasn't coincidental. It was criminal negligence disguised as administrative efficiency. I left the basement with their research summaries and a deeper sense of purpose. Tomorrow's board meeting was going to be more interesting than anyone expected. Exactly 25 minutes after our hallway confrontation, there was a soft knock on my door. Come in, I called, sliding my tablet into a drawer. Diane entered with that confident stride of someone used to controlling every room they walked into. Her practiced smile faltered slightly when she noticed my sparse office, deliberately chosen as the smallest available space in the research wing. I wanted to personally welcome you, she began, settling into the chair across from my desk like she owned it. I don't believe we've been properly introduced since you arrived. I'm Diane Hutchinson, Administrative Director of Operations. She was doing damage control, I realized. Our conference room encounter had probably seemed harsher than she intended, and she needed to smooth things over with someone who might potentially become useful to her network. It was a smart move, actually. Most new hires would have been grateful for the personal attention from such a senior administrator. The conference room situation this morning, she continued. I hope you understand it wasn't personal. We have protocols that help maintain our institutional excellence. Sometimes that means making difficult decisions about resource allocation. Then her eyes landed on my nameplate, still sitting face down on the desk, partially visible from her angle. What's that? She asked, taking a step forward without being invited. I flipped the nameplate upright with deliberate slowness. The color drained from her face so fast I thought she might actually faint. Director of Operations and Innovation, she whispered, reading the title. You're the new... The board announcement goes out tomorrow morning, I said calmly. I requested 3 weeks to observe normal operations before assuming my official role. She sank back into the chair, that pearl necklace trembling against her throat. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then I remembered Stephanie Walsh presenting breakthrough research to broken equipment in a moldy basement, while Dr. Foster's team got prime facilities for recycling 1990s ideas. The conference room situation this morning was exactly the point, I continued. 3 weeks of seeing this institute as it truly functions rather than how it performs when leadership is watching. I could practically see her mind racing, calculating damage control strategies. She was already rewriting the morning's events, constructing alternate narratives where her actions served some greater institutional good. 20 years of building and maintaining power structures had taught her how to adapt quickly. "Dr. Richardson," she began, her voice steadying as she regained composure. "In my 20 years here, I've developed systems that maintain our academic standards. Sometimes that means making difficult decisions about resource prioritization. If I seemed protective of the Hamilton Room, it's because I've seen what happens when valuable resources get misallocated." "Interesting approach to prioritization," I said. "I've been particularly studying your basement conference room. Did you know it has water damage in 3 corners? Yet that's where Dr. Stephanie Walsh's immunology research team was scheduled to meet last week to present work that could revolutionize pharmaceutical development." Her smile tightened. "Maintenance issues happen in any facility. I'll have that addressed immediately. Along with the pattern of which researchers consistently receive substandard facilities," I continued, "like Dr. Walsh, whose protein synthesis breakthrough was just licensed by 4 major pharmaceutical companies. She spent 8 months relegated to the basement despite producing results that generated more revenue than the rest of the institute combined." Diane's jaw tensed for just a moment before she forced another smile. "Individual cases don't reflect overall institutional patterns. I'd be happy to walk you through our allocation methodologies tomorrow." The charm was returning. Her recovery was actually impressive. She'd outlasted 3 previous directors I knew, each time adapting and aligning until she could gradually shape institutional culture back to her preferred hierarchy. "I look forward to tomorrow's board meeting," I said, offering nothing more. She stood, smoothing her skirt. "Shall I have facilities move your things to the director's office this afternoon?" "No need. I'll work from here until after tomorrow's meeting." Confusion flickered across her face, but she nodded graciously. "As you wish, and please feel free to use the Hamilton Room whenever you'd like. I'll personally ensure it's always available." "That won't be necessary," I replied. "The online booking system works perfectly when everyone follows the same rules." The board meeting was scheduled for 2 noon in the main conference room. When I arrived 15 minutes early, Diane was already there arranging materials at each seat like she was hosting a dinner party. She'd clearly spent the night preparing her counterattack. "Dr. Richardson, I've prepared briefing materials for your introduction," she said, handing me a folder filled with talking points that painted the institute in glowing terms. "I've highlighted key achievements you might want to reference." "Thanks, but I've prepared my own presentation." Her smile didn't waver, but I caught a flicker of concern in her eyes. "Of course, but as someone new to our academic culture, you might find these institutional insights valuable. We wouldn't want any misunderstandings about how things work here." When the board members and department heads filed in, I could see the curiosity mixed with apprehension in their faces. Some I recognized as Diane's inner circle. Dr. Martin Foster, Dr. Barbara Martinez, Dr. Dennis Coleman, the ones whose projects always got approved, whose labs always had the newest equipment. They took their usual seats at the main table with practiced confidence. Others entered more hesitantly. These were the researchers whose work had been systematically sidelined, who'd learned to expect disappointment from administrative decisions. They gravitated toward chairs along the walls, conditioned by years of implicit hierarchy. Dr. Stephanie Walsh and her basement colleagues hovered near the door, clearly uncomfortable about entering what they'd been taught was not their space. The body language told the story as clearly as any organizational chart. "Please," I gestured toward the empty chairs at the main table. "Join us. Every perspective is important today." Diane's smile tightened as she watched her carefully maintained order being disrupted. "Dr. Richardson," she said smoothly, "we typically follow established seating protocols for meeting efficiency." "Not today," I replied simply. When everyone was settled, I began without any warm-up pleasantries. For 3 weeks, I've observed this institute not as its director, but as an ordinary researcher. What I've discovered has been both revealing and deeply troubling. The room went quiet as data appeared on the screen behind me. Not accusations or opinions, but hard numbers showing resource allocation patterns, project approval rates, and career advancement trajectories. Everything correlated with proximity to administrative favor rather than scientific merit or potential. "Over the past 5 years," I continued, "this institute has lost 28 researchers. 24 of them have gone on to make significant breakthroughs at competing institutions. Meanwhile, our own innovation metrics have declined by 35%, and our grant application success rate has dropped to 23%. well below the national average of 41%. Dr. Coleman, one of Diane's longtime allies, shifted uncomfortably. With respect, Dr. Richardson, complex academic institutions require careful resource management. Not every researcher can access premium facilities simultaneously. Absolutely right, I agreed, which is why allocation should correlate with research potential, productivity, and institutional impact, not personal relationships. I clicked to the next slide. A correlation analysis showing the clear pattern between resource access and proximity to Diane's personal network. The data told its own damning story. Researchers in her favor circle received an average of 340% more funding, 280% better facility access, and 450% more conference opportunities than those outside it. This analysis covers the past 36 months, I explained. Every resource allocation decision, every facility assignment, every opportunity distribution. The pattern shows 82% correlation with personal network proximity rather than research merit or institutional impact. Board Chairman Dr. William Carpenter leaned forward, studying the numbers. These are significant disparities. They represent systematic institutional bias, I continued. Dr. Stephanie Walsh's protein synthesis research, which has now been licensed by 4 pharmaceutical companies, was conducted entirely in basement facilities while receiving less than 15% of the resources allocated to projects that produced 0 commercial applications. Stephanie sat straighter, surprise flickering across her face at being mentioned prominently. Diane maintained perfect composure, but I noticed her pen gripping tighter in her hands. Individual project outcomes can't be predicted in advance, Diane interjected. Resource allocation must consider factors beyond immediate commercial potential, such as researcher experience, institutional relationships, administrative feasibility, long-term strategic alignment. Interesting criteria, I said, advancing to the next slide. Because none of those factors correlate with the actual success metrics I've analyzed. However, there is one factor that predicts resource allocation with 82% accuracy. The final chart appeared, a simple graph showing resource distribution against social proximity to Diane's personal network. The correlation was so clear, so undeniable that even Diane's strongest allies couldn't dispute it. The room fell completely silent. Dr. Martin Foster stared at his section of the chart showing his consistently high resource allocation despite consistently low research output. Dr. Barbara Martinez studied her conference opportunity numbers with obvious discomfort. This isn't about assigning blame to individuals, I clarified, watching Diane's expression remain carefully neutral. Systems evolve over time, often with unintended consequences. Our responsibility now is systematic correction, not personal retribution. For the next 15 minutes, I outlined comprehensive reforms: transparent resource allocation based on blind peer review, merit-based facility assignment with rotating access schedules, anonymous reporting systems for bias or favoritism, external auditing of all major funding decisions. Throughout my presentation, Diane took careful notes, nodding at appropriate moments. To anyone watching, she appeared engaged and supportive. Only the slight tremor in her hands and the way she avoided direct eye contact with her usual allies betrayed her mounting stress. Finally, I reached the crucial moment. To implement these changes effectively, we need leadership that understands both the current system and the reforms necessary to transform it. The room held its breath. Everyone expected Diane's demotion or dismissal. Therefore, I'm creating a new position, Director of Institutional Equity and Transparency. This role will oversee implementation of all reform protocols, maintain public accountability measures, and ensure sustained compliance with merit-based allocation principles. Confusion rippled through the room. Where was the axe falling? Ms. Hutchinson, I continued, your 20 years of institutional knowledge make you uniquely qualified for this position. You'll chair a new oversight committee comprising researchers from all levels and divisions, including those currently working in basement facilities. Understanding dawned slowly in Diane's eyes. She wasn't being fired, she was being transformed. Every policy she would now enforce directly contradicted her previous 2 decades of actions. Every monthly report she would file would document the very inequities she had created and maintained. You want me to dismantle my own systems? She said quietly. I want you to evolve them, I corrected. Your intimate knowledge of current processes makes you ideal for guiding their transformation into something genuinely merit-based. Board Chairman Carpenter was nodding approvingly. Institutional continuity during reform. Very wise approach. Diane sat perfectly still, processing the elegant trap I'd constructed. Public disgrace avoided, but compelled to become the architect of everything she'd spent 20 years opposing. 8 months later, the transformation was complete, and it exceeded even my expectations. The first major victory came just 6 weeks after the board meeting. Dr. Stephanie Walsh's protein synthesis research secured $1.6 million in federal funding from the National Institute of Health. Her methodology was already being adopted by research teams at Johns Hopkins and Stanford. The basement conference room where she'd been forced to present her early work had been converted into the Innovation Collaboration Lab, a state-of-the-art facility that researchers now competed to book time in. But the real measure of success wasn't in individual achievements. It was in the systematic changes that made those achievements possible. Diane Hutchinson had become the most thorough enforcer of merit-based policies the Institute had ever seen. Not because she wanted to, but because every decision she made was transparently documented and publicly reviewed. Her monthly equity reports had become models that other research institutions requested copies of. The transformation hadn't been easy for her, but gradually, something unexpected happened. As she saw talented researchers flourish under fair resource allocation, as innovative projects advanced based on merit rather than connections, her resistance softened into something approaching genuine conviction. She told me during one of our monthly reviews, I'd forgotten how exciting real breakthrough research could be. When I started here 20 years ago, that's what drew me to this work. The numbers told the story better than any individual anecdote. Researcher retention had improved by 52%. Grant application success rates had climbed from 23% to 41%, matching national averages. Most importantly, research output had increased by 31%, with 16 major innovations currently in various stages of commercial development. I often thought about Carmen Rodriguez during those months. She'd contacted me after news of Westfield's transformation spread through academic circles. "I heard what you did there," she wrote in her email. "It gives me hope that maybe I made the right choice leaving when I did, and that the next generation won't have to face what I faced." That email meant more to me than any board commendation or industry recognition. Sometimes the most satisfying revenge isn't destruction, it's reconstruction, especially when the architect of the problem becomes the builder of the solution, not through choice initially, but through the relentless logic of systems designed for actual excellence rather than its appearance. Real leadership at our age isn't about proving we're right. It's about creating environments where the next generation can be brilliant without having to fight the battles we fought. The greatest victory in any organization isn't defeating your opponents. It's building systems so robust that merit wins regardless of who's in charge. True revenge isn't about making someone pay for the past. It's about making them build the future they should have created all along.